Time now to talk about this week's biggest brand stories with Tony Chapman, host of the Chatter That Matters podcast. Always great to see you, Tony. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to both of you.
Hey, Tony, it's good to talk to you. Of course, we always talk about a variety of different brand stories today, and this is two of the biggest, arguably most iconic, Canadian brands right now. We're talking Canadian Tire and RBC teaming up here. We've seen them independently doing different things here. What do you make of this sort of combination of Canadian powerhouses, particularly at this time right now?
I think it's fantastic. I think when we see two big corporations focusing on affordability, trying to bring more value to their consumer and realizing they're better together. The fact that they each bring a customer base, they both have loyalty programs, and if they can shuffle the deck, I think those cards can play to the advantage of the consumer. But Nick, what I really want to talk to both of you about is think about this as an idea for all of Canadian business. Think about being on Main Street. It's prom week. I've got a flower shop. The person over there is selling dresses or suits. Why can't they come together? I'm in the business of selling art supplies. There's a local school down the street. Can we start working together as Canadian companies the way Canadian Tire and RBC is working together? I think, to me, this is what the circle economy is all about. We're better together. We're stronger together as opposed to being torn apart. So I give full kudos to big organizations like RBC and Canadian Tire doing it, because that's complicated. But Main Street, wake up and make it happen yourself.
Yeah, almost like BIAs, Tony, could kind of come together and do something along those lines, right, too? I mean, when you talk about Main Street, that's what makes me think about BIAs collectively doing something.
We always think we're competing for a share of wallet, but sometimes when we come together, we're creating a bigger pie to share for everyone. And I think that's the sort of the rallying cry that I'm seeing out of Avion and Canadian Tire coming together, saying, yeah, we each had our own little empire, but bring it together, put the lens on the consumer. If they win, we all win. And I want to see that mentality roar through the entire Canadian economy, Canadian brands, Canadian business, Canadians supporting Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and let's talk about Canada's baseball team, essentially, right? The Blue Jays, they had their season home opener yesterday. Unfortunately, they took a whomping from the Baltimore Orioles. But what do you make of their campaign, their brand, especially in this time of tensions with the U.S.? I mean, can the Jays step it up here?
Well, listen, I think the biggest thing they might have considered doing is for the season putting Canada Blue Jays on versus Toronto. I think that would have been an absolutely brilliant move because they wanted to claim they're the only team north of just like the Raptors, we're the only Major League Baseball team. The thing I'm most disappointed about, I love this creative, they went to New York to get it done. This is another lesson for all Canadian companies. We have some of the best agencies in the world here, some of the best creative talent. Work with Canadian agencies and Canadian talent. Every dollar matters. Every dollar has to circle within the Canadian economy. So I love what the Blue Jays have done. It's a great ad. It's a great statement, especially after coming off the season they did. But the one thing that I'd love to see them do is Canada versus Toronto, and more importantly, keep the business within Canada.
Right. And, for their home opener, I know the pitcher gets to choose what they wear, the color of their jersey. They could have chosen the red.
Yeah, it would have been appropriate. Yeah, for sure.
That would have been
absolutely. This is we got to
cool.
We got to wear this on our sleeve and be proud of it. This elbows up again is a sentiment. It's not a strategy, but if it's a sentiment, let's make it happen any chance we can. Let's signal to the world our identity, our sovereignty. That's, I think, what's so important right now.
Canada picking up Canada indeed. Okay, Tony Chapman, we're tight on time this Friday. We'll talk to you a little longer, hopefully next week. Have a good weekend. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, Tony.